I was looking forward to dismissal because that told me that this day was done.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I understand tomorrow has to show up. But all of the issues connected to this day, I never see again. Because, Stooks, it's been dismissed. Now, when something is dismissed, that means this thing is literally complete in your life. That's how one can be delivered, but not be in deliverance, because I can still, I can be pulled out of the crack house. But until the crack house is dismissed from my veins,
yes, sir.
I'm just delivered. I ain't got to deliverance yet. So, Pastor, what are you trying to tell me? I'm trying to give us to understand that there is a process to your deliverance. The dragging out, the pulling and the snatching is the awareness that I've had a problem. It is the knowledge that this part of me is killing me. Yes. Deliverance says I'm no longer going to die to this one thing. Yes. I'm going to allow it to be dismissed out of my life. But many of us, sitting under the sound of my voice, whether here or across the airwaves, many of us are not willing to dismiss certain things from our lives. Because we still enjoy the side effect that comes from playing with what we should be delivered from.
Wow.
We still enjoy the buzz that comes from that particular thing. We don't want to live in it anymore because we understand we've been delivered from it. But I still, from time to time, like the high that it'll get me on. Jesus said that's why my hands are tied in certain areas of your life. It's not that I don't have the power to give you deliverance. You just got to be willing to let the thing be dismissed. You got to be willing for your language to change.
Yeah.
You got to be willing to get a new vocabulary.
Yeah.
Many of us just aren't willing. It's normal. I'm supposed to cuss somebody out. That's just a byproduct of my life. It's just supposed to happen. I've been doing it since I was 15. So it's just a part of my normal. Until you're willing to dismiss that part of your vocabulary, you'll never operate in true deliverance. You might go a day or two, with a clean word or not. But until there's a literal dismissing. Now, Pastor, what are you talking about? I can speak from this, not from the cussing standpoint, but I can speak from just the deliverance because I understand that deliverance has a look.
Oh, wow. That's good, sir.
And I get it, Black, and that's why I'm praying, now I ain't gonna never change. So, I'm always be me. But my prayer, Evans, is that, God continues to, fine tune me in what I see. Because a lot of times people would be a little leery about joining here because I think he sees a little too much.
Go ahead, Pastor. Real truth.
I don't really know. I like going, the word is good, but I think he sees a little more than what I want him to see right now. The only thing you're telling the Lord is you ain't ready to be delivered.
That's right.
You're still trying to hide and duck and put on a happy face, thinking your pastor can't see through it. Then you're just telling the Lord, I ain't really ready yet. So Jesus says, I can't do what I want to do in my hometown because y'all not ready to be delivered.
That's right.
This was supposed to have been really point number one tonight. That deliverance always requires a change of scenery. Deliverance always requires a change of scenery. If you're taking notes, you can say and location.
That's good. Teacher.
No need, Sister Thompson, to think you're going to be delivered and you don't change your location. Pastor, what are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to tell me? There has to be a change in what you're seeing in order for you to change how you see it. Because if I'm looking at the same man every day, I'll never be delivered from that man, because that man is all I see. So the change of location doesn't necessarily mean I got to change my address. I just might have to change the position of my chair. If my battle, let me give you something practical. I believe in practical teaching and relevant preaching. Okay. If my battle was in my sleep, okay, if I need to be delivered in my sleep, you ain't even got to change rooms in your house. Just change the side you sleep on. If you're a back sleeper, your problems with your sleep, why not try sleeping on your left side? Try to get something practical. There has to be a change in your location or in your scenery in order to experience deliverance. Jesus says it very clearly. He says, listen, I'm leaving from Nazareth and I'm going to go to Capernaum. Because I understand that same power I got in Nazareth, I got in Capernaum too. But the reality is, it's different scenery there.
Yeah.
They're actually ready for what I'm giving. So the power that I've got is going to work because the scenery has changed. When Paul was dealing with, let's look at this. Let's look at Second Corinthians chapter 1. Let's look at that. Let me show you something. I don't want to just roll and run, so take you through some scripture. 2 Corinthians chapter 1. 2 Corinthians chapter 1. I want to see verses 8, 9, and 10. 2 Corinthians chapter 1. So again, we're teaching tonight on the declaration of deliverance. We've made several points, but what we're on right now is that in order for deliverance to take place, there must be a change of scenery or a change of location. Paul says it this way, 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 8. He says, for we would not, brethren, have you ignorant of our trouble or our tribulation, which came to us in Asia, that we were pressed out of measure, above strength, insomuch that we despaired even of life. But we had the sentence of death in ourselves, that we should not trust in ourselves, but in God, which raiseth the dead, who delivered us from so great a death, and doth deliver, in whom we trust that he will yet deliver us. Now, Pastor, what are you trying to teach? I'm talking about the necessity of deliverance, meaning there needs to be a change of scene or a change of location. Catch this. We have an apostle. We have a chief leader in the house of God that is writing to us to say, Deacon Wells, I don't want the church to feel like that because I carry this title, my life is free of tribulation. He says, as a preacher, I have been pressed out of measure. I've been pressed above strength, in so much that I don't even want to live no more. This is the pastor, the apostle, the bishop talking, Sister Thompson. He's saying, I've been through some stuff in this current place that has literally driven me to not want to live anymore. He said, I'm not even going to hide it from you. Sister Akasha likes to say this to me oftentimes when she asks. She don't really mean it yet. That's why I don't tell her. But she'll ask me, well, Pastor, how are you doing? She said, well, you're not going to tell me anyway. So that's why I don't tell her, because she ain't really ready to hear how I'm doing. And two, she ain't really meaning how I'm doing. It's more so how his first lady doing. You know what I mean? So the reality is, he said that as a preacher, you, Minister Lipscomb, will experience lows in your life that as an anointed vessel of God, you'll still be saying, maybe I should just check out.
Real true.
He says, I was pressed above measure and above strength. I was praying for other people, but couldn't pray for myself. I was laying hands on folk, they getting set free, but I was still bound. This is what the preacher said. He says, but I got a clue that when I changed locations,
this is good.
there came with the shift in scenery a deliverance. Let me just talk tonight because I feel God. So I look at Brother Erman Wells, and I remember what 4 years ago looked like in his body. I remember times because I was one of his elders and I had oversight, and I would call and say, "Bro, you think you better make it this week? I don't know, elder. You need just pray for me. I can't even hardly get out of the bed. Just pray for me. I can't even hardly walk." And this was his story until God says change scenes. The man of God went from not being able to walk to now you can't keep him still. Because
Look good.
of a change in scenery.
Yeah.
There was life infused in him. There was deliverance given him in his body because he needed to change locations.
Wow.
I want us to catch this. So even when I'm on this job that I hate, when I'm every day going in and I feel like I'm pressed above measure, I feel like I'm pressed above strength, I'm ready to give them not even a 2-week notice, but a 2-minute notice. I'm ready to just up and leave. God says that's the time you got to learn how to change location.
Go ahead, sir.
What does that mean, Pastor? What that means is I got to get a new perspective of the scenery.
Wow.
I got to now reevaluate why am I really here.
Tough. Come on.
I've got to be able to look beyond the natural issue that's in front of me and begin to understand that I'm serving a greater purpose by my name being on this payroll.
Wow.
That maybe I'm the one that's keeping the company afloat because my name is on the payroll.
Go ahead.
Maybe I'm the one that's keeping my company from being attacked by a terrorist because my name is on the payroll.
Wow.
Maybe I'm the one that's keeping the shooter out of the system because my name
My
is
God.
on the payroll. So I got to be able to look beyond what I'm seeing, students.
That's right.
I got to be able to look beyond my frustration and my lack of fulfillment and be able to say, God, let me change my scenery.
Amen.
My God.
Amen.
Help us, Lord.
All of this, Sister Akasha, is what is in you already. The ability to live in deliverance, but it requires me to change scenery. Deliverance, it's the state of being delivered. It's where I live.
Hello. Good.
Yeah, when you live, okay, deliverance again is freedom. You know, it's freedom, right? So when you live in freedom, nobody can take freedom from you.
That's right.
You would be a fool to let somebody come into your house and take something from you right in front of your face. Because that's where you live. So where you live, you've got domain or dominion. You've got control and you've got authority because you live there. So if I live in freedom, I would be a fool to let somebody come into where I live, freedom, and rob me of where I live. Wow. No boss has enough power to take from me what I live in. Okay. All right. So deliverance requires me to change my scenery or my location. Again, Paul, the great preacher, the great leader in the kingdom, he says, I was at a point that I was done, that I was quitting, I was ready to give up, I was ready to tap in because of what was being done to me. He was being persecuted so much so in the region of Asia that he really was like, I'm really at a point that I can die. But when he changed scenery, he got out of Asia and went into Ephesus and went into Macedonia and went to other places. He realized that God delivered him by allowing his scenery to be changed. Deliverance. I told you that it will not fight against willingness. That was good. I told you that the power in you and the capability in you is never the problem with deliverance. It's always the unbelief that rules. This is where I want to catch right now. Deliverance is designed only for those who were captive. I don't qualify to be delivered if I've never been in prison. I don't qualify for deliverance unless there was something that had imprisoned me. Can I submit to us tonight that some of our prison experiences have been necessary so that God could show you what deliverance really is.
Yes. Yes.
Had you not been through that state and that time frame in your life, there would literally be nothing for you to be delivered from. Jesus says, the anointing I have is for me to preach deliverance unto those that are captive. I want us to catch this, Jenkins, that the preaching of deliverance was different than the working of deliverance. Now, the working of deliverance is where Jesus goes in, just trying to teach you tonight. He lays hands on the sick. You know, he speaks to the issue that's going on. It's a direct ministry, point one-on-one contact. That's the work of deliverance. But the preaching of deliverance is when Jesus simply would proclaim a thing and it would happen. Okay? He says, so the preaching of deliverance is only designed for those who have been held captive to something in their lives. Okay, Pastor, what are you telling me? What I'm telling you is it's cool for the preacher to lay hands on you when you got a captive situation, but what you really need is to be preached to. It's good to submit your name on the sick and shut-in list, you know, Baptist Church. It's good to submit your name on, you know, the visit me list. But what you really need when there's a captive situation, Sister Greer, you need a word. Prayer is great. I'm not taking anything away from prayer. It's good. I'm just teaching you the text tonight. The text says that when captive situations arise, what you need is not a laying on of hands. You need the preached word. So he says it is the preaching of deliverance is designed for the captive. Catch this. Captive, when we look at the base of it as it's written here in the Greek form, it yields us to be defined as a person who is a prisoner of war. A captive is a person who was a prisoner of war. Understand what that means. This means that somebody was bound as a result of a struggle that they had nothing to do with. Okay? A prisoner of war is a person that finds themselves in a place of struggle, a place of being bound over nothing that they did on their own. Okay, those that are in military, those that have signed up for that particular lifestyle, Brett Evans, they don't sign up and pick a war. Okay, it's somebody else's decision, normally a president or lack thereof, that cause some contention to arise that now the warrior has to go into a fight that he didn't pick on his own. Okay, stick with me. Many times, Jenkins, we are prisoners of wars that we didn't pick on our own. A lot of our wars were inherited to us with our last name. That because my mom and my mom's mom and my mom's mom's mom didn't realize they had power to speak deliverance over their lives, I've now got to be born carrying a struggle that I had nothing to do with. And I've got to grow to a point quick enough that before I pass this struggle on to another generation, I'm willing to realize I've got power in me to stop this from going beyond me. So the prisoner, the captive, he's become captive on a struggle that he was born into. I hope y'all are catching this. So Jesus says, I'm coming back to a place where I know all of you are captive. Okay. I'm coming back to Nazareth in the temple, the place where I know is only a form of religion, and I'm trying to show you a way out of the curse that you've been living under all of your life. But instead of you being able to see beyond who I am, you're reminded of my family's lineage. Bible says, isn't this Joseph's son?
Yes.
They don't see the power that he has to set them free. They see the name that he's carrying.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So no matter what, no matter how much of a Jenkins I become, there's still a Johnson connected to me. Okay. That now when I come even with a new name, and I come now with a new anointing, it's hard for you to look beyond the Johnson. Because you know the struggles connected to my name.
That's good.
And because you are putting me in this box of only being what my name says, because we grew up here and y'all know what my dad and my cousins and my uncles and them did and are doing, you're not willing to understand that I can give you something to get you out of what you're in.
Wow.
So the only way what's in me can work is if I change scenes.
Right. Yes.
Good.
Yes.
I can't come back to Kannapolis with this.
Right. That's good.
I can't come back to Portsmouth with this, because in Portsmouth you're still seeing what was connected to my name. You're still seeing the boy you marched with in the band.
Oh.
So
Go ahead.
because I got a word in my mouth that I know can set you free, the only way it can be effective is if I come to Concord.
Wow.
Yes.
Heavy.
Yes.
That's heavy, sir.
So now it's easier for you to follow me from Portsmouth than you can, that you can follow me from Portsmouth on the tube in Concord, because you don't see Portsmouth anymore, you see Concord.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Okay,
So Jesus says, I came that I want to set you free, but because you were still locked into who I was, I'm not capable of performing the way I desire to in your life. So he says that deliverance, again, is designed for the deliverance that he had in his mouth was literally designed for the people he was trying to preach to. But because they didn't see themselves as being captives, they missed out on the deliverance that was for them.
Oh, that's good.
Thank you, Black.
Yes,
Catch
sir.
this. Because you don't still see your generational curse.
That's right.
That's heavy.
You feel like the lesson tonight is for somebody else. Because, Pastor, I'm saved now. Yeah, I know, but you're not free.
That's right.
You've been delivered, I know, but you don't have deliverance. Because until I can acknowledge the fact that there's still a place that hinders me from living in freedom, until I can acknowledge that there's still some captive areas in my life. The biggest problem, Sister Akasha, from a person realizing they're still a captive is them being free in something else in their life.
Wow.
I'll make you understand that.
That was good.
Because you're not captive to cussing no more. You know, it makes you forget that you're still a captive for looking at stuff you ain't supposed to look at.
Good teaching. Wrong.
Because you're not a captive to pornography anymore, it makes you forget you're still a captive to the bottle.
Teaching.
So what freedom does, Evans, is when I get a taste of what freedom is in one area, it's supposed to become contagious to the rest of my life.
Oh.
That the parts of me that still struggle should actually be jealous of the parts of me that
Come
are free.
on, preacher.
And the jealousy should require there to be a change from my struggle to now freedom. But the problem is, I don't let the jealousy work the right way. I let the free become jealous of the struggle.
Wow.
And say that because since I'm still slipping and dipping over here, God will forgive me anyway. I might as well go back to what I used to do. The worst thing you can tell Pastor Hinton is, I know God is a forgiving God. That's the worst thing you can tell me. I'd rather you just don't tell me nothing. Just live as a sinner. I'd rather you don't tell me anything. Well, I know God is a forgiving God. Don't do that. Because what you're doing is, you're trying to minimize your sin. And you're trying to compromise God. Don't do that. Don't do that. If you're going to say anything, you should say, I know God is forgiving the sins I don't know I'm committing. How about that one? Yeah. Because if I'm knowingly and knowledgeably committing a sin, then God ain't really promised to forgive that. Because the forgiveness is connected to the acknowledgement of what I'm doing and the change that came from me not doing it anymore. Okay. So the captive, it's necessary to be captive in order to get delivered. What are things that cause us to be bound, or things cause us to be captive? Well, it's one particular word, one particular verse of scripture I want you to catch to understand what being captive looks like and is. It's called when you have a stronghold in your life. A stronghold in the Greek is a word, akaroma. Akaroma is spelled O-C-H-U-R-O-M-A. Akaroma. O-C-H-U-R-O-M-A. Akaroma. Akaroma is the Greek word for stronghold, which means a fortified place. It is a castle or a prison. Now, I just told you, deliverance is only designed for the captives. The captives are those that are known as prisoners of war, or those who are bound now in a strong place as a result of a struggle that was no fault of their own. So the captive in biblical times would only reside in the prison or the castle. So the stronghold was actually known as the home of the captive. Make sure we catch all that. Sometimes I think I'm teaching on 302 level. So, all right. The stronghold was the place defined, Sister Stoops, in the Greek as being a castle or a prison. That's the stronghold. Okay? In biblical times, the only people that lived in strongholds were those who were prisoners or known as captives. I told you that deliverance is only designed for the captive. So if the captive is the only person that deliverance is designed for, and the captive only resides in the stronghold, that gives me to understand that the only way I become captive is by living in strongholds. Strongholds are things that are fortified. What does that mean, Pastor? They're things that you built fences around that you don't allow just anybody to get to. It is the pain that you went through by what somebody did to you when you were 4, and you decided that instead of me living a miserable life, I'll live a 90% free life and keep the 10% under lock and key of the fortified wall. And now I come into a relationship, help me tonight, Jesus, with somebody who's done the exact same thing. So I've got two 90% trying to make themselves 100. But until I can get behind the stronghold in her life and the stronghold in my life, we have no shot at creating life that's whole.
That's true.
So now there's going to be a curse over my seed because I kept 10% to myself and you kept 10% to yours. So the best chance he got to be is 80% whole.
Come on, man. My goodness.
So he's walking around now with the seed of a father that had issues and came from the womb of a mother that was jacked up. And he's trying to grow and figure life out only 80% whole. And then his 80%, he's going to try to lock up another 10%, so it's